Nintendo Switch. Let's show you what's going on with this one. At least the first thing that's going on with it is it's got quite a mangled and destroyed port. So the first thing we have to do is we need to disassemble it, remove that port, and do some testing, because I'd say there's a pretty good possibility of collateral damage, but we never know until we get to testing. So let's get after it. Okay, we're out of the housing and we are going to prep the port for removal. Try and get that in view for you guys. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to flood it with low melt. I guess first we can throw up our temps though, while I'm getting my equipment on. Fume extractor and all that stuff. I don't expect we'll use a Pico pencil unless we pull pads, which is not something we do. Usually if there are pull pads, it's because there were already pull pads or damaged pads. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, our pull looks good. Let's throw our port aside. Make sure we don't have any bridges. If we do, we'll need to clear them before we can test. It appears we're okay. We look fine. Alright, we're going to flip the board over because everything we're going to be doing from here on will really be from that side of the board. Alright, let's connect our meter and we'll set up to do some measurements here. We'll start around M92T36. Make sure we're nice and focused for you. Alright, let's find ourselves a ground. Heat sink will do. Alright, so this first capacitor will be the PI 3 USB, the one we formerly used to call P13 USB, but it's been clarified since then. So, and that one seems okay. Now we'll start checking signal side on these capacitors. By signal side, I mean if you look at the capacitor, there will be a line from the capacitor to the IC. Now some of them will have two and one of those will be ground, but in the cases of the ones, you don't want those to be shorted. And that one is, so it looks like we have an M92T36 problem. These two guys here are shorted. Alright. This one here is alarming if it becomes shorted. It usually is not a good sign, but looks like we're good there. Alright, so we for sure have an M92T36 problem. Let's check around our MOSFETs. Check our little filter here. Get rid of this random solder ball. Check our resettable fuse. It can sometimes be a challenge to get a reading on this fuse. Usually there's some sort of residue from the manufacturer that's just stuck on these usually. We're going to check all these test pads for shorts. And that one is shorted, obviously probably because of M92. It is the only one though. All right. Let's move over to BQ24193. Make sure our coil is not shorted. Again, it's a little challenging to get a reading on this one. The residue, you just gotta get through it. It can fool you. Now this one has two lines going to the chip, so one of them is always going to be ground. That's ground side. You can't really see what I'm doing, sorry. We're going signal side on all these capacitors. Alright, they all look fine. Check our P13 USB. And we figured there would be collateral damage when we first looked at this, so no big surprise. It's usually surprising when there isn't. Again, these can be a little bit challenging to get through the residue. Do we have a blown filter? Okay, I'm getting it. Okay, there we go. That one was particularly challenging. Okay. Sorry I'm not lingering on these very long, but I just want to hit a beep and go because it's really hard to get them to have a sustained continuity. Okay. Test to make sure we're not don't have any shorted or sorry bridged. We do not appear. Good place to test for that is on the caps too. Very good. Alright, let's find ourselves a good ground point. Test our PI 3 USB. It'll take a while for me to get used to that. Alright, that appears to be fine. Alright, it looks like M92 is our next issue. So we're going to go about removing it. And then we'll test once we have it removed. Okay, let's let it cool down for a minute. Actually, I'll rapid cool it in the fume extractor. That should be good enough for testing anyway. And let's see if we relieved our shorts. And it does appear our shorts on these two capacitors have been relieved, so M92 T36 was definitely blown. So a new one should solve that problem. And that's what we'll work on next. Okay, feel like our placement went reasonably well. So now we're going to clean up the port and put on a new port, and then we'll test from there. Okay, I'll give this a good thorough clean with the air compressor off screen, but right now what I want to do is perform a test with power and see what kind of behavior we encounter. That is not normal. We're just getting a 0.07 period. Alright. That's a bit odd. That is not a particularly good sign. Alright, let's take a look around still. 0.07. Grab my battery. See what it does. Could just... There's always the possibility is not liking the PSU too. So always have to have that as a factor. Yeah, we're still just getting a 0.07, so that is unusual. Yeah, let's look around, see if we see anything else going on here. Feel like our M92 went fine. It's a little off center, but it's making connections, so I'm not worried there. Let's just take a general tour. See if there's anything popping out to us as to why we would only be getting 0.07. Alright, I'm going to give this a clean off. We'll put it in the housing and see what it does with the full battery. Make sure it even boots up. That'll be very disappointing if it does not. Okay, one more time I just want to go over this board and make sure none of our shorts have returned before I plug this battery in. I'm going to check test points first. Okay. Everything looks fine. We could have gotten a dud M92. It's entirely possible. Could have a BQ issue that is not presenting itself, but I'm not seeing any shorts, so alright. Not worried about blowing anything up with the battery. What I want to see is will it power up at all with a full battery. Okay, so we got an error. 21010001. I think that's an M92 error. Okay. Let's plug some power to it and see. So we may have gotten a dud M92 here. Yeah, we've got nothing going on here. Alright, so we will try another M92 and see if that solves our problem. I'll also double check this error. 2101001. I do believe that's M92, but I'll double check. Okay, well, apparently I forgot to hit record. I did put a new M92 T36 on here. It was a bit troublesome to get on for some reason. You know, your skills sometimes just disappear on you sometimes. So we'll have to test it and see how we did. It took about 2 or 3 tries. I'm disappointed I did not catch it on video. Alright. Let's see what it does. Am I getting flat 0 again? I'm about to get a little grouchy. Yeah, that is another indication of a dud at M92. Okay, this is not great. Looks like I've got to try another one. I have this in right orientation, yes. Yep. Okay, that's irritating. This is the second one out of my lot. Good enough for a test. Okay, I'm starting to get a little ticked off here. No way I should be getting... Yeah, the only time I've ever gotten 0 is from dud M92 T36 chips. And I'm getting flat 0 here. Check all my connections just to make sure. I'm getting flat nothing. I'm gonna have to use one of my used ones. I can't afford to keep freaking going through this lot. Alright, that's very frustrating. Okay, that's more like what I would expect to see. That's more like what I would expect to see. Okay, so it appears I have a bad lot of an M92 T36, and I'm going to have to call my supplier or contact my supplier and let him know that whoever he's getting them from is selling him some duds. We'll put this back in the housing and give it a test with my known good battery and go from there. Alright, as you can see, testing with a known good battery, we're back up and running. And test the other side just to make sure we're getting charging on both sides. It appears like we are. Yeah, there we go. So we're getting charging both sides. We had 3 dud M92 T36 chips out of our last shipment. Jason, man, I thought we were friends. I'm just kidding. He'll make it right. He's a good guy. It just happens. You never know when you get these things from China if you're going to get anything good out of them. So anyway, we're going to reassemble and test from there. And well, we'll reassemble, let it charge on its own battery for a while, and then test from there. All right, we're back up and running on their battery. It's up to about 9%. And grab my Joy-Cons. I didn't get any Joy-Cons with this one, so we will test with mine. Recognizing one, recognizing the other. Let's make sure it is charging, and it is. Okay, we'll do one more test and make sure we're getting our internet. Just want to make sure the networks show up. Looks good. Alright, I'm going to let it charge a little bit more. I'll pull my Joy-Cons off and then we'll do a dock test once it gets up to about 15% or so. Alright, as you can see, we are docking. So everything is good. The port, in summary, we went with the, we had a smash port. We had to remove the port and do some testing. We ended up with a shorted M92 T36. We changed it out with some complications on some bad chips, 3 of them to be exact. But I did have several pulls left over, so I put a pull on. It's back up to running good. It's docking, it's charging on both sides, so this repair is done. If you have any question about the equipment I used in this video, they're all linked down in the description below. If you like this video, hit the like button please on your way out, and if you like this type of content, hit the subscribe button, maybe the notification bell, and you'll know whenever I post new content, which is about twice a week usually. So that's really all I have to ask of you. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.